Alters, just how many copies of yourself would you want to live with? Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm Monk, and today, yes, we are reviewing a game called Alters, which is just released. Now, this game has been produced by 11-Bit Studios, and it's currently on the Xbox, the PlayStation, and of course over on Windows as well. Now, this is actually a survival game. That's like the tag on this game. It is a survival game. It's a futuristic, space adventure in which you've crash landed on a planet, and you essentially need to survive. Now, what exactly does that mean, that being a space game? How do you need to survive? Well, you need to collect resources. There's a number of different resources that you can collect. You being a pretty well-rounded technician means you can do quite a lot over on that surface, including mining for resources. So if you happen to run around and find some metal, you're going to try and grab up as much as that as possible. If you find water reserves in that planet, well, you're going to be needing to mine that too. See where I am right now, all those water vapors that are trying to escape? Well, that means I'm able to put down the needed materials in order to mine all of that up, which is quite cool. I have to admit, exploring a strange new planet is pretty fun. This is kind of one of those games that is a little bit slower tempo to a lot of games out there at the moment. This being a kind of like mid-range game as well. It's only $29.99 depending on which platform you're buying it on, which is quite cheap for 2025 when games can be rather expensive. Now that $29.99 will get you around 25 to 30 hours of gameplay, depending of course how you play, how you survive. There's also multiple difficulties, so if you do end up playing through and wanting another bash, you are able to rank up that difficulty, which is something I quite like. Now, as well as actually going out there and mining, there's a few different things in this game actually that you need to manage. This is, as much as it is a survival game, it's also a management game, which is quite cool. So like I said, at the beginning of the game, you are the sole occupant on this ship. Now, very quickly, you are going to, it's going to get populated quite fast by copies of yourself. That's kind of why it's called alters. You are making alternative versions of yourself. These guys are better at certain things than you are, and of course all these extra people on the ship means you're able to do more things. It's kind of how you survive. Now, like I said, you are able to manage a few different things. You are going to need to feed both yourself and your crew, so you're able to make and prepare lots of different food. There's lots of different extra things that you're going to be able to unlock, skills and equipment along the way that you're going to be able to craft. All of these things, though, take time, as in when it comes to management, as well as managing your water reserves, your fuel, your food, even having to manage the alternative versions of yourself and how they're mentally coping with the situation that you're currently in. You also have to manage your time. In fact, there's a great deal featured on you needing to manage your time properly. There is a day cycle to this game. So when you go out to work, for instance, and you come home, if there's some jobs you need to do, you need to make sure you leave yourself enough time in a day in order to be able to do that. Because if you don't, you're going to get exhausted. If you're exhausted, you're going to sleep in later. If you sleep in later, you've got less time for the next day. So managing your exhaustion and what you do throughout the days can be really important. So far, I've really enjoyed this game. I think it's been a lot of fun. There's been lots to do. It's a very slow-paced game. It's not really particularly, thrilling, especially at the start of the game. You're very limited in what you're able to do. As you play through the game, however, you all unlock lots and lots more skills, which is quite cool. Very early on, you get to do this. You get to find the water reservoir that you're going to need to fill up your base, essentially. Now, this is for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, you need to live. Water is really important, but this also acts as your fuel. And this gadget right here is what you're going to be sitting on for a long time. So every bit of liquid that you manage to mine out of it, that's going to equal a year sorry, a year, that's going to equal an hour in actual daytime. So you're going to be going back to those sites again and again and again, and completing certain objectives, eventually just trying to survive and get off that planet alive. Of course, things are never that easy. There's always things that are breaking down. There's always things that need fixing. Which is just, I really enjoyed my time. It's a quirky game. It's certainly one that I wasn't necessarily expecting, and there's definitely a mysterious secret to kind of like unlock as you play through as well. Just little mechanics like this, like setting up the pylons and making sure that for instance your mining equipment and your ship are directly linked. I quite like that. I thought it was just a small little thing that you could do, but it was one that I quite liked seeing the visual impact, if you will, on the game. Now, one of the other big things about this game is the fact that you get to customize your ship. Now, you have a ship which is at the beginning of the game, it's dead in the water, can't do nothing. But as you play through, you're going to unlock many different compartments, many different rooms that you're going to be able to build. Like, for instance, right here, I am sat or walking around in the kitchen. That wasn't in the game right at the beginning. You actually had to make that and place that in, where you wanted it amongst your ship. I was really impressed with how the game handled this. You can literally take all those different compartments, mix them up, match them up, and put them anywhere you want. The system is surprisingly robust and allows you some real free will as to how you want your base loaded out. Now, I did experience some quite a bit of lag actually in the open world parts of this game when I'm exploring the world and exploring the planets, and I figured I'd experience a lot of lag, or maybe the system would struggle when it comes to me messing around with my ship right at the beginning of the game, just trying to make it my version of the ship. But it done really surprisingly well. The hardest part was actually just remembering where I'd put all the different compartments. Like, for instance, I tried to leave the planet and oh hey presto, the engine wasn't working. So I had to go down into the maintenance compartment, flip a switch, go back up, launch it again, still didn't work, had to go back down again in the turbo lift to do it a second and a third time. Well, that was me with the poor looking ahead when it comes to properly designing my ship. But it was a fun little part of the game that made me double think how I would arrange it better next time. This game is also fully voice acted, from what I can tell. The voice acting is actually pretty good. It does its job. It's nothing spectacular, but yeah, I figured what it has in place is more than good enough to kind of keep you in and kind of hooked on the story, trying to hope that our character could actually be saved and make it off said planet.
What is this? Where am I?
Now, one thing I did like was that the choices that I gave in dialogues, especially to my alters, seemed to have a real impact on how they felt about the certain situation. Now, just how much agency you have here, I'm not too sure of. Yeah, with only one playthrough under my belt, I can't really say either way, but I did like having that option. It felt like, my opinion, my options really carried a bit of weight. All in all, I've really enjoyed my time during Alters. There are a few things that were a bit annoying. There was quite a bit of lag within the open world. Some of the mechanics when climbing here, climbing there was so repetitive. There was one in particular scene where I needed to climb up a certain set of steps, but they had steps next to each other. So every single time I climbed up the one step and watched my character do the climbing mechanic, and then I went to climb up the second set of steps and it climbed down the first set of steps, and then I had to rinse and repeat. It was kind of annoying, but it wasn't necessarily game breaking. I had no crashes, no dashboards or anything like that. It was a cute little enjoyable game, reasonably priced, not terribly long, and a little bit out there. I'm trying to think of a game that this is like, but You know, there's just not too many games like this out there. It's a quirky little survivor, builder, management system game, which is actually rather addictive. I'm going to give this game a pretty respectable, solid 8 out of 10. Like I said, I did enjoy it. The voice acting is pretty on point. It's not terribly expensive. It delivers what it says on the tin, and it's a good way to waste a day if you have some free time. But let me know in the comments what you think of this game, if it's one you're going to be picking up, and if you have already, what your thoughts are. And if you've stuck around to the very end of the review, a big thank you to you. Don't forget to comment Red Banana down below. Just confused all those people that didn't watch to the very end of the video or that are simply new to the channel. But until next time, I've been the monk, you've been the Christy Curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.
To build a womb?
Some sample of DNA. Good.
This is fucked up, but what the hell?